Hi everyone, Matt here, and as you can see I have the Ezio hidden blade from Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and it is taken apart. And the reason why I took it apart is because, like most people, when you get a replica blade from Assassin's Creed, you want to just activate like you see in the game, and they are all not, so you're gonna have to kind of do it yourself. But I actually found, when I had it apart, I actually found a video that was actually using this particular model, and it was by a guy named Ammnra. He does a lot of Assassin's Creed modifications, and actually does a lot of custom work too. So I'm gonna copy the post, or copy the link in the bottom of the page so you can check it out for yourself to see what he did and where I got this from. But I actually modified his idea a little bit, and I also had an idea of my own, which I'm mainly covering in this video. I'm gonna cover, the leather work and how I tied this into it, and then obviously get into the operation of the blade. And then I'll probably do a separate video of it all working together, because this might be a little bit long, just giving you a heads up. But anyway, what I did was, first is I put this on my forearm with a piece of paper underneath so I could trace the shape onto the piece of paper. And then this is the final product, and this is the template that I'm going to be using. And as you draw this out, don't cut it right away. You can if you want, but if you do that, then you're gonna have a cut edge on the side, and I didn't want that. I wanted to actually leave. I did a 1/2 inch on the top, bottom, and sides so that I could fold it over and then just sew the edge over, so you have a nice rounded edge detail. And I think it looks a lot nicer than having just a cut edge on the outside, and it's more realistic too if you want to do replication. But anyway, I've hand sewn all the sides, because don't have an industrial sewing machine, which you basically need for working with leather. The basic home sewing machine won't work with this. It's not powerful enough to go through the leather, so you're gonna have to hand sew it. And it actually didn't take me that long. Well, it took me about an hour. You might say, well, it's long, but it could be longer. But the only way it's gonna be faster is if you have, like I said, you have an industrial sewing machine. But anyway, so the top, bottom, and the sides, and then the next step is find the center and where you want to place this. So find the center, mark out where the edges are going to go, and then get this piece ready to attach. Now you're going to be drilling probably 12, 14 holes, because you're going to have 6 holes on either side, because you're going to have 3 ties. They're going to go through the side and then down through the bottom, and on both sides. So that's a total of 12 holes. But then you also want to have a hole right here below the button to run your fishing line through, or your cord, whatever you're going to use for your pull cord. And you want to go right down on the bottom of the button. And then what I did was I drilled this hole twice. I drilled it once straight down, and then I also drilled it once on an angle from the back, so it actually goes kind of like that on this side when you look at it like this. So it kind of goes up like that. So there's a little bit of an angled channel on the bottom side that allows the thread to go through with less friction, because there's when you drill the hole, it's just too small to like sand it smooth, so it's most likely gonna be a little bit rough. And this fishing line is actually pretty strong. I can't even really cut it with scissors, but once this is all glued together, I just don't want to have to take it apart again to fix it. So I want to make sure that it was at least drilled at an angle, so it's less resistance. And then I drilled this hole here on the end to have it come out. And underneath is actually interesting. It actually helps too. You don't have to worry about any binding of the cord, because it has 6 little plastic legs, if you will, that sit in here. 6 little circular peg legs, or whatever they're called. And yeah, so it allows the blade casing to attach to the leather part. And but those stick out just enough to create an airspace, or a little channel, to have this move freely with no pinching or binding when you wear it. And yeah, so to tie this down, I just drill the hole straight down, as tight to the right as possible and as tight to the left as possible. And then I did 3 holes, 1 for each cord, which are replicating these here. And that's basically what I used to lay it out. Just kind of laid these out, drew it with a pen or pencil or whatever. I can't remember what I marked it with, but I just drew a line where these were going to go. And then, like I said, drill the hole straight through from the top, And I actually did it when it was on the leather. Like I put this on the leather first, and then that way you drill it through with your drill bit, it kind of marks the leather, and then you just take the plastic piece away and then finish, you know, poking the hole through. Or actually, I actually drilled the leather, you know, just to, I don't know, it worked, you know. So, but yeah, 3 holes down on both sides, tight to each side as possible, and also you want to have a hole on the sides as well, but as low as possible, and that way it doesn't come up on a crazy height, and also it doesn't come up on a height here that it might catch on any moving parts. That's why you want it as tight, as low as possible, and as tight to either side, so that the cord that's on the inside, as it passes through, it doesn't, it's not loose, and it won't bind on any moving parts like the spring or this piece here as it slides in and out when you push the button and push it back in. You know, so you want it to be as tight as possible in these corners. So like I said, as low as possible, and then as tight to the right and as tight to the left as possible. And then that's what you're gonna end up with. And now when you go to attach this, only attach the top and the bottom, or the front and the back, however you look at it. And the reason why is because you still have to pass your line through whatever you used. So, and then when you tie these down, it ended up serving a dual purpose, this 1/2 inch flap, because it actually ends up covering the knot, because where I placed the knot was just inside the stitch line here of my stitch detail, and then it obviously just comes out wherever you end up drilling it on the back, and those are exposed, but you can barely even feel them because it's soft material. And oh yeah, when you feed this through, it might be a good idea. What I did was I just burnt the end I was feeding through with a lighter, and then just rolled it in my fingertips, because when you cut the stuff, it kind of frays a little bit, and you want to have a nice closed pointy tip, kind of like a needle, to push it through, and then tie your knot to secure it in place. But like I said, only attach the top and the bottom, or the front and the back, so that you have this middle nice and able to droop, so you get your hand in there to help feed the line through there, and then along between all those little legs, and then out through the end. And then once you have that through, make sure you tie both ends so it doesn't fall back out as you work on tying in these final middle straps here. And then after you have that all done, then what you're going to work on next is the leather straps. And this is basically the last thing that you're going to work on before putting this all back together. And what I did there was I just grabbed a couple of these and I cut them to different lengths, because obviously your wrist is a little narrower than your lower forearm there. So I marked 1 inch, because I want it to go under 1 inch to give me enough room to sew the strap on, because that's a lot of wear and tear, a lot of movement as you go to put it on and take it off, kind of deal. So you want to make sure this is nice and strong. And so I left 1 inch, and I had this on my forearm, and I stuck it underneath, wrapped the other end around with my right hand, and then roughly put it under 1 inch to cut it to length. And then I found my middle, and then I used the middle mark, and I centered my buckle with the mark on the center. And then I measured from the end to the center, but I added 1 inch, because this is the piece that's going to wrap around the buckle piece, just like so. And it has an extra inch, and it has more than enough room to get, I think it was 3 pairs of sew pass-throughs, however you want to call it. And then where I passed the needle through 3 times on both sides, and then I drilled a hole on the center to put that little peg through, and I drilled it with the 1/8 inch drill bit to make sure it was big enough to have this pass through and have mobility as opposed to just being stiff. And again, do it again with the bigger strap. And then for the other side that feeds through with the holes, I just measured from the other side and then passed it through the center part of the buckle, and then gave it maybe a couple extra inches, and then obviously just kind of gauge the length there. And then you can mark the center and then get the measurement for the holes. What I did for the measurement of the holes was I used the strap that came on the vambrace. Now what I did was I just measured from the tip of the strap to the center of the first hole. And now I don't know what that is in metric, but imperial I got I think it was like 7/16 of an inch, and then from center hole to the center of the hole from first to second holes it was 5/16 I think. And then I just used those measurements for my measurements, and then obviously cut the angles to make it look nice and just a square edge. And as you can see, I already took this off, but I wanted to replace that as well, as I was already doing strap work. And this actually came out easier than I thought. I actually thought it was glued in place, but it's actually just a little T holding, and it actually holds it in there pretty good, surprisingly. I actually had to cut one side of it to pull it out, but like I just replaced that. And that was a little bit more challenging because this had to kind of work inside this U shape with my hands, but it actually ends up looking quite nice. But yeah, that's basically what I did to modify this. And like I said, I just kind of used Ammnra's idea here, but I varied it slightly because he just drilled straight through everything, which is not bad. You know, if you want to do that, you can. That's very simple modification. But personally, for me, I wanted to figure out something that I didn't have to drill through this, and it keeps it still looking as I got it. So what I did was, to modify his idea a little bit, I just drilled through, or sorry, I heated up a needle, a sewing needle, and then I just pushed it through this acrylic here, and it actually went through quite easily because it melted it as I did the whole part. And now I'm going to poke a hole right through the center of this little crossbar here, and so that's what I used to. It still pulls it, you know. So yeah, I untied my knot from these two pieces being tied together, and tied this into that, and then now it's all ready to go put back together. So that'll be another video. Thanks for watching, and can't wait to see this all put together and show you guys how that works out.